We thank you that we are anchored in you, and we look forward as we continue on in this time together. Be with us. May the decisions that are made honor you, and may our fellowship be strengthened through what we hear today. In your name, amen. All right, we have, is Morris here? There's Morris. There you go.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Do we have anybody new this morning? New board members, new pastors? You stand and introduce yourself to us.
Good morning, Chris Life, Baptist Church out in the Hall area.
We're glad to have you. Make yourself at home. Amen. Not too homey though, okay?
Right. You have the minutes printed from the last time. There any corrections that need to be made for those? Please let us know. And we're going, we have a pretty full agenda here. So you see it's printed here. Don't wait on me to call you up. Just let's go down the list, and when it's your time, come on up, and we'll take care of things as soon as fast as we can today. First up is our Director of Missions. Chris, come on and share with us.
It's an honor to serve you as your executive director. I want to read a scripture I think is very helpful during this divisive time in which we live. We've noticed some of the issues going on in the national dimension of our denomination and across the country. So let this word speak to us. It's from Colossians 3, verse 12. Put on then as God's chosen holy ones, compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience, bearing with one another. And if anyone has a complaint against another, forgive each other as the Lord has forgiven you. So you must also forgive. It's a good word. Don't you agree? So I want to show you a few things that the Lord is doing through your association. This infographic, it will help you get a bird's eye view of some excellent ministry that has gone on through you, the churches. About 21,000 have been fed through the different food distribution points in our city. We have 9 of those that we work with and partner with. We now have 9 partners in our Partners Center in this facility, which was a gracious gift of Baptist Health System. We're so thankful. And we have 2 churches meeting in here in this room. And this coming Sunday, I'll be here for a baptism service. I'm not exactly sure on the logistics of that. I look forward to seeing how that goes. And 76 volunteers have helped with IDA, and we'll hear more about that. 2,300 plus hours given. So we're thankful for the disaster relief. Church engagement has been huge over the last quarter. We've been out to churches of all different sizes and different parts of the association. We're at Robinwood to honor 2 deacons who serve as community missionaries in that neighborhood. We were there for Danny Wood's retirement, supporting that event, and also to support Pastor Eddie Gibson and the Brewster Road Community Church, which that church has now received a facility in a strategic location, and they are reaching people for the Lord Jesus Christ, and we're grateful. Also, I'm glad to have partners like Marisa and Dr. Barry Cosper, and they were recently at Hope Community Church, and we're grateful for just opportunities to be out with you, serving you. Church revitalization is going well. Some of you may have seen the article that was put out for Associational Missions Week by Baptist Press. It's great what God is doing here, and I think the convention's finding out. Right now, we have 3 churches working toward adoption and 4 who are beginning a revitalization process, and 5 healthy churches that are ready to partner. And that's a good place to be. And we've already worked with several, and I'm thankful for Dr. Josh Cook, whom you'll hear from later today. Fairfield Highlands and Faith Church, we're going to see a nice video on what God has done there and is continuing to do. But it's been a great story of how a facility and legacy has formed a foundation to reach a community there in Midfield. Disaster relief, Hurricane Ida. We're thankful for Greg Moore, our disaster relief director, and he's going to share just a moment about that. But I'm thankful that we had a special contact with the Bayou Baptist Association. 32 churches there, 28 of those churches received extensive damage, most of them not able to be worshiped in. And we as an association were able to make a sizable donation and work with them. Again, the Partner Center, these are the partners that we have here in the facility here. It's a 17,000 square foot facility. We heard from Awaken in a recent pastors conference and Greg Oliver, great ministry, Decision, Choices, and Options, which is not only a church education ministry for abstinence, it's also in the public schools. And Joy Wassel, who is a former member of Brentwood Baptist Church, is here in our area. It's doing a great job with that. Discovery Clubs, Lifeline, Christian Services will have an office here. We're thankful for Herbie Newell and their work. Metro Changers, Pathways Counseling. It's good to have that here. Save a Life, WMU Work Faith. And one that's really a ministry within our churches, you'll hear from Kevin in just a moment, but MTI from Samford University. We're thankful for that great work. So it is truly a new hub for ministry, and we're grateful to have that here in a community that needs us. We've had several meetings right here in this room, and on the other end, we have a nice library, and there we recently held the chaplain commencement service for Baptist Health System. And it was a great opportunity to support them. And we have other things in the works to support the chaplains. Adopt-A-Station, several of you were involved with Adopt-A-Station for 9/11. And it was good to support one of our BMBA pastors, Eli Smith, who's also a police officer in Eastlake. What a fantastic couple. He and his wife were beat officers on the East Precinct, felt a call to plant a church there, and has been a great ministry. And I'm glad for Michael Wallace, who gets the Best Cookie Award from North Highlands Baptist. They supported their police and first responders there as well. We had several others. So thank you guys for doing that. It's just another way that we're trying to point you to the fact that you have to be good partners in your community to make disciples. You really need to know who those folks are, your first responders, et cetera. I want to say a special word of thanks to Michael Etheridge and to the golf committee planning team. They were able to raise about $10,000 to help with the build out on our third floor up behind me here. That will be the new place for our Save a Life partnership. It'll be a medical center, a crisis pregnancy center as well. And ladies and gentlemen, will be able to get off the bus stop here and walk right up this sidewalk and get hope, help, and healing, and also be connected to discipleship in local churches. So we are excited about that and thankful for it. So I want to show you, to close out my report, a video, and then I'll step back up and see if you have any questions. This is a video that has Aubrey Miller in it. So Aubrey, we're thankful for Faith Church at Midfield and the partnership you have not only with our association, but with Mountain Brook Baptist Church. So.
Feet in the community that surround. I believe that the places that we have been and the things that we have done have been in preparation for this current moment. And it has allowed us to be appreciative of what is here, what is under our feet, and the community that surrounds us.
I was born into this community, and I've been in this church since I was about 2 weeks old. I got to go on mission trips, choir tours. I got to go to camps. At one time, this church was packed with 10 buses bringing children in from all over the community.
We had been looking for a while for our own place because everybody was tired of the transition every Sunday. So we started that mission of looking for a place that we could call home.
I dubbed Brother Ed, our pastor, Thomas Kincaid of the Bible. You know, he was a famous painter. He brought light to his paintings, and that's what Brother Ed did. He brought light through the scriptures where we could understand it and pass it on.
When I came, like any new pastor, I tried several things to kind of jumpstart church growth. And we had some minimal success, but not anything to brag about.
We was looking for churches in the Birmingham area, and we did an offer for one and it didn't come through. I just think it was a sign for God that he had something bigger for us.
The numbers was going down, and when you, something had to be done.
So Pastor Miller gave a call to someone who was on the association.
And lo and behold, literally the next day, Mike Etheridge gave me a call and he said, Aubrey, you won't believe this. I'm standing in the sanctuary of a church that is about to be dissolved.
We just came to a decision that we needed some fresh blood in here, that we needed some new thoughts, something that will identify with this community and pull them in.
It's really scary sometimes when we talk about church revitalization, because we hear stories of one type of revitalization or another type of revitalization, and we think that, well, that's the only thing that we could do. That's the only plan, and we just don't want to do that. We don't feel like our community or our church is ready for that. But the reality is that there are so many different avenues. There are so many different options, and there's never a time where the church is left helpless and hopeless. And so the Birmingham Metro Baptist Association's goal is to help churches, to equip them to discern what God's plan is for their life, to be that matchmaker who gets to bring churches and partners together so that in every community, every church is thriving.
We called on Birmingham Association to help us make a decision. And they brought all of their expertise for us. Our people approached this with some misgivings, but the associational staff basically just helped us make the decision ourselves.
So with Fairfield Highlands, the big decision that they had was, do we want to continue like we are? Do we want to hold on until there's maybe nobody left? Do we just want to close and put a for sale sign out front and use that money to benefit some other ministry? Or is there a way for us to move forward in a way that will continue the gospel legacy that we were founded on through blessing another church? And that's ultimately where they landed, is they want their legacy to be one of mission from the beginning, from their birth, through all of these years of faithful ministry, but now a legacy of mission as they hand over the torch to Faith Church, and they continue that ministry that began decades ago at Fairfield Highlands.
We're very grateful for Fairfield Highland Baptist Church for what they did and the foundation that they laid here. So just looking forward for us to build on what they started.
Our hope is that from day one that we're out and we make such an impact on this community that we're able to get out and share the good news of the gospel and lead people to Christ.
When a church puts up a for sale sign and closes their door, the people in the community who are desperate for life and hope see a church that didn't continue. They see a God who is packing up and moving from that community. That we know that that's not the truth. And so at the BMBA, we want to do everything we can to help churches see that there are life-giving options, there are partnerships, there are ways and avenues for the church to continue so that every community has a bright lighthouse in it, proclaiming the glory of God.
In this situation, the lights never go out. And it is important that we show the community that this place is still a center of worship, outreach, and work.
My mom would always say, be a light, be a shining light out there, so that when people see you, they would want to be a part of what you are a part of. Their light shine during their term. And now with this transition, it's our turn to shine our light in this community.
Let's give a hand to the Lord for what he has done. So we exist to encourage with and engage biblically faithful churches in the Great Commission for the glory of God. Do you have any questions? Yes. It's a great word, Lord. We're grateful. Any others? Thank you.
I'd like to add to that report on the Faith Church. They purchased the facility from the association. Fairfield Highlands donated the association their facility, and Faith Church purchased it. And Dr. Crane agreed to let us invest 80% of the purchase price back into Faith's ministry over the next year, 18 months. I think that's we haven't said that out loud, but I think that speaks really well of the leadership and the vision that this association has for helping its churches thrive. And it's a real pleasure to be a part of that. I would say thank you to Baptist Health System again for the 14,000th time for donating to us this facility and for giving us a check for $350,000 to help refurbish it. And that seed has grown. And we were able to raise another 125,000 or so from our churches for the project. And then we had resources that had been set aside for years since the sale of the funeral home office downtown years ago. So we had the resources to do a really good job in refurbishing the facility. Most of the time, when you get into a project like this in a church, you have an amount of money and you have to decide what not to do. And that was not what we had to deal with. Our question constantly is, do we need to put those funds in that part of the project? Is that a worthy thing to do? And it's sort of an unusual way to get to do a church project. And that was a lot of fun. We're through with the main part of the building. We have little touch-up things that we'll be doing on and on just to make it look pretty. And we find that when we paint a door, we have a door frame that also needs painting. And you paint the door frame, somebody has scuffed up the wall. And so that's the thing we're trying to keep working on. The third floor will become a crisis pregnancy center. The last drawings that the city requires for permitting that project are being finished today. We expect the permits to be granted this week, and then construction will start. It's about a 75-day project to complete the construction. And all total, it's going to be about a $250,000 or $60,000 project. Save a Life is investing $50,000 into the project, and we're going to fund the rest. 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I got a note from an attorney that says you're a beneficiary of an estate. And I read through it and I thought, oh boy, this is what I love to do. And we found out that this lady had passed away and she was a widow and a nurse, and she was very frugal and the Lord had blessed her, and she left about $5 million. And she gave that to the ministries that she had a heart for. And the Birmingham Baptist Association was one of those, along with Hunter Street Baptist Church, where she was a member, the Billy Graham Association, the Children's Home, and the list goes on and on and on. But we received about $230,000 of that. And the only restriction was she wanted it used for social ministry that would advance the gospel. So we set that aside in an investment and waited until the Lord brought Save a Life along. And so we needed $200,000 and she gave $200,000. It was like a bullseye. Now, folks, that's a fun way to do ministry. It's just sit in your office and watch the Lord provide, and then watch the Lord give you answers and directions. That's just a lot of fun. And that's what's happening with the building. So that'll be completed. They'll move in right early after the first of the year and begin that ministry. The section above this room is an office suite. It had 6 offices in it. And we didn't really do anything with it when we did the main renovation project because we didn't know how it was going to be used. And after partners took all of the finished space and we had no more space for new partners, we talked about what to do and decided, well, it seems like the Lord is bringing folks who need office space. So we went ahead and committed the funds and have refurbished it. And if you have time, if you go out that way and up the stairs, you can go in and see a really nice 6-office suite, which we would love for somebody to take and use and fill it up. I suspect that the Lord won't take much time to bring us a partner or 2 or 3 to take care of that. But the building is a tool the Lord has given us to partner with significant community ministries. And that makes us legitimately a part of a larger world, advancing the gospel in different ways. And we're grateful for that. And any questions? Yeah.
We've got a pretty good report today. So Mike Evans must have thought I could handle it on my own. He never turns down a round of golf, but he is playing in a golf tournament today for one of our partners, Save a Life. So that is a good thing. I would like to, just before I get started, to direct your attention to page 16 and 17 of your brochure. That is the designation of one of the other partners here, Discovery Club. My wife's been a partner of that, has been a part of that ministry now for 4 or 5 years. And that's just something that's near and dear to our heart. It actually goes out and shares the gospel one day a week in the school with 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders. And it has been a fantastic thing. She has loved doing it. The only part is she comes home telling some of the sad stories that she tells from inner city kids, between not having, the proper clothes for the temperature, or the other side is kids being woken up in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock in the morning because of gunshots next door. So, some of those will just tear your heart out, but she has enjoyed being a part of that ministry. And I would like, they do training in this room right here. If there's enough people, they would go to a church and actually train members there to help volunteer. So I would just like for y'all all to think about that and see how that goes. Now, to the budget. Church contributions so far this year are $432,857 against a budget of $427. So this is one of the first times in a long time that I can say that church contributions are running above budget, which means that after 25 years of doing this, we have finally got somewhat of a handle on what we're going to be getting, because we are always running under that number. So that is a very good thing. Supplemental income, you will notice the budget is $78,899. We've received $51,471. There's still some more of that to come in. That's just because of how that's budgeted and how it looks. So, but that's not quite as bad as it seems. We have pulled out $30,000 investment account versus the budget of 22. A lot of that was to pay for some funding and some other stuff for the Save a Life on the 3rd floor, and some other budgeted items. So total revenue for the year to date is $514,000 versus a budget of $528. So we're about $14,000 under in total revenue, almost 15 in total revenue. Expenses, however, are running $4,000 over as well. They should have been 518. They're a little over. Again, not enough to be concerned about on either one of those numbers right now. The best thing is utilities for this building, even though it is 1.5 times bigger than the building down the street, utilities with the upgrades and other things we've made are running well below what we paid for the smaller building down the street. So all of the improvements that we made to the HVA system, to the lighting, to everything else has really helped so far. So that is really helping our budget, that we don't have to be pulling money out for that each month to be able to cover that the building partners as well as us are all covering the expenses of the building. So that is a fantastic part. Michael didn't present it today, but we have a separate profit and loss statement, if you want to use that word, for the building, where we take the rent, put the rent in, take the expenses out. And that's running, actually, we're running a little ahead in that account. So that enables us to have some money. So when we need to do some renovations, or when we need to make some upgrades or repairs in the future, we're adding a little bit to that fund. So that'll be okay there. The only downside to the whole report, and it's not a big downside, for the quarter, we lost money in the investment account. We lost about $2,600. However, for the year, we're up 17.4% over where we started the year with. And I checked the market on the way in this morning as I was walking into the building. We are looking at the Dow Industrial is looking at a new high today, an all-time high. So based upon that, we are fine, even though we had a loss at the beginning of September 30th, as of today, we should be up about 5.5%. That's not an annualized number. That is a true 5.5% from the first of the month till now, based upon what the Dow's done. So we'll be a little less than that because we're a little more conservative than the Dow or the S&P 500. So we'll be a little under that. But overall, we have recovered that, and I am not worried at all right now about that. So any questions?
I think somebody ought to say thank you to Jeff. He's been our treasurer for a long time and does a good job. 25 years, and he's not a silent partner in this. He's sort of like the guy, whatever I ask for, he says no. And then I have to convince him that it's okay, and we meet somewhere in the middle. And it's a really good balance, and I appreciate what Jeff
You always want to
does.
spend money.
I do. And according to your wife, you don't ever want to spend any money. So it makes a good team. In fact, she told him that when he was fussing to her about me spending money. So there are two budgets to present. On page 7, you'll see the summary of the budget recommendation from stewardship, and it's been through personnel, which is the largest part of the budget. And for 2022, we're proposing a $702,000 revenue budget and a $701,000 expense budget for the new year. And so that's a recommendation coming from stewardship that would require action. And I'll just give you the next budget. Maybe you can handle them both at the same time, Greg. On the next page is the budget we created for the building. And we've taken all of the expenses for owning the building and put them as expenses in this budget. We've taken all of the revenue, which is reimbursements from our ministry partners for use of space, plus some money that the BMBA budgets for space. And we have a fairly well balanced budget, a little margin in there. And as Jeff said, the big number is the Alabama Power Bill. This building, 1 year recently, with about 6 or 7 people in it, had a $57,000 Alabama Power Bill for the year. And because of the wisdom of Lawrence Corley and others who helped us decide to spend some money to replace some old equipment and to put LED lighting in, instead of what we thought was going to be a $36,000 utility bill for the building, it's less than 20. And that's been vetted now for 5 or 6 months. And it's a huge blessing to the association. That's allowed us in the BMBA budget to reallocate some dollars from cost of building into ministry. So there's 2 budgets to act on. They're printed there. And Greg, if you would like to come and get those approved, that'd be great.
First of all, does anyone have any question for these guys about either of these?
No, it's a separate ledger.
Any other questions? All right. I've always heard silence meant no, but I've learned sometimes silence means good job. Go for it. So I'm going with the second option. But thanks so much for this report. Do we have a motion that we adopt both the proposed BMBA budget and the building budget as presented here? That's right. It's coming from a committee, so doesn't need a motion. Second, so it needs a second. So I apologize for that. I'm a little rusty in my business meeting skills here. So do we have a second that this be adopted? All right. There any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. And if you're on Zoom, please raise your hand. Are there any opposed? I do not see any in the room. And thanks so much. Great job.
One other item. Chris has been, he's our chief advocate to our churches for resources. And in the last few months, we've had 3 churches commit to give an additional $27,000 total for the work of the association in budgeted contributions. Some of those were computed into this number. Others happened after we put these numbers together, but we're looking for a really good year in 2022.
Thanks so much. Great job on all of that. The next item is another action item, and that is the recommendation from the enlistment committee. Do you need to speak to that in any way, Chris? If you look on pages 9 and 10 of your printed reports there, these are nominees for to serve in various committee assignments and officers and places within the association. And again, that carries, since it comes from a committee, it carries its own motion. Do we have a second that we adopt this recommendation from the enlistment committee? Do we have a second? All right. And then is there any discussion or questions? All right. All in favor, lift up your hands. Any opposed? Didn't see any opposed, so that carries. So thanks so much for that. Number 6 is the Baptist Health System report, and then we do have an action item following that.
Hello. Just wanted to give you an update today on what's going on around the hospitals. First of all, I thought I would mention COVID again. The last time I met with you, I think I told you that this was in July, and I think I said that we thought COVID was in the rearview mirror. So we all saw that that was not the case. We did hit a high in September of about 280 patients across our system. At one point, Princeton had 70 patients in-house with COVID. So that was very difficult, but we are down as of Friday to 56 patients throughout the system. We've been plus or minus 50 to 70 for the last couple of weeks. So a drastic decrease from the first couple of weeks of September, but not our low point. I think in June, we got down to 6 patients. And so still have a ways to go, but are certainly pleased with the progress so far. One other thing I wanted to mention to you, and some of you may have seen this in news articles, we have made a change to the CEO at Brookwood Baptist Health and Brookwood Baptist Medical Center. The CEO was previously Tim Putoff, and our new CEO is Jeremy Clark. Jeremy comes to us from Hilton Head Hospital System. So he has been with Tenet for most of his career. Almost all of his career, actually. He actually was born and raised in Birmingham. So he's coming home. His family, extended family, lives here. He has an undergraduate and graduate degree from Duke University. And his first job was actually at Brookwood, right out of school. And he said his first volunteer job was at Montclair when he was in high school. So that's really when he decided that he was interested in healthcare. So we're excited to have Jeremy. He's very smart. He's very impressive, and he understands our partnership, and he understands our mission, and he is supportive of that mission. So his first day was October the 1st, and his family will be moving here next week. Also, I wanted to mention financially, we've had a very good year. We've had some difficult years. 2019 was a very difficult year, but we're significantly ahead of our budget financially for 2021, significantly ahead of 2020, and significantly ahead of 2019. So we've made a lot of improvement. I would not say we're where we need to be. We still need more improvement. Most of that needs to come from Brookwood because Brookwood is not back to where it was in 2016, 2017. But we're happy with the progress so far. I think the most exciting thing that I wanted to talk to you about today is our focus on mission and ministries within the hospital. We have created a 3-year strategic plan to grow our pastoral care programs in our hospitals. We have 5 separate programs at each of our hospitals, and they operated prior to about a year and a half ago, they all operated independently and differently. We recently promoted Dr. Cecilia Walker, who most of you have met. I've brought her here before. She's now over the entire system. So there's more accountability and there'll be more consistency within our programs. Princeton has always operated probably the highest and best program, and we're trying to bring all the other facilities up to that Princeton level. And then of course, Princeton can improve as well. But we're going to be very focused on growing those programs. And our goal is for every single person who walks through our doors at a hospital to know that they've been in a Christian facility and to have had a Christian encounter, whether they're a patient, a family member, an employee, a physician, or just a random visitor. We want every single person to have a Christian encounter. And so I'll just talk about a few of the things we're doing. We have a very detailed plan, and I don't have time to go through the whole plan, but just some high points. First of all, from the employee standpoint, we want to start and focus more on the faith aspects of the job when we're recruiting nurses. Nursing is a calling. It's too hard to do if you're not called to nursing, but there are a lot of people who want to live out their faith in their career, and they're looking for that opportunity, and we offer it. We don't think we've been highlighting it enough as we're recruiting nurses, so that we're going to focus on that more in recruiting. We're going to focus on it more in orientation, the first day on the job, and then we're going to hit it more often throughout their employment. There are annual training sessions that all nurses have to do within the hospital. We're adding a whole module on living out your faith within the hospital to their annual training. So they'll get it early and often. That is our goal. We've also added a reflection line. It's a phone number. It's a daily devotional that anyone can call. All the employees are aware of it, but they've also given it out to other people. Every day there's a new devotional. It's 2 minutes or less, and it's written by and taped by either chaplains at the hospitals or executives at the hospitals, and in some cases Baptist board members. So we're all volunteering, and we get assigned our date and we call in and do the devotional. So there's a new one updated every day. There's also a new weekly email. There's a weekly email that goes out to every single employee at Brookwood Baptist Health. That's over 5,000 employees are getting a weekly email that is a devotional. And then there's also going to be up on November the 1st, a new devotional on our website. And that's for anyone who goes to our website, not just for internal employees. We're also, a key part of our strategic plan is building and growing relationships with pastors and churches. We've always had pastors who are in and out of our hospitals all the time. We've had relationships, good relationships in the past. We've had visitation issue, because of COVID, we couldn't have any visitors, and those have been drastically reduced. And so over the last year and a half or so, we just haven't had as close of a relationship with the pastors as we would like. So we will have some specific initiatives. One of those we will kick off next week. And thanks to Chris Crane for helping us recruit. We were going to have pastors, local pastors, be spiritual mentors for our chaplains. We have 14 full-time chaplains throughout our system, and we're going to have a one-on-one relationship with a local pastor. And that will kick off in January of 2022. That'll be on a 1-year rotation. So that'll be our first year. And then there will be other partnerships with churches and pastors, and you'll hear about those as we go forward. And then finally, we realized if we're really going to ask a lot more of our pastoral care teams, they're going to need more resources because they were stretched on resources. So just last week, we added 2 new full-time positions, one at Shelby and one at Walker. And I'm sure there'll be more just to help with coverage so that they can see more patients and more families throughout the day. Again, our goal is to see every single patient. Every single inpatient and every single surgery. We won't ever be able to hit every outpatient. You guys know sometimes you just come in the side and get some blood drawn and leave, and you probably won't see a chaplain there. But every inpatient and every surgery, we want to make sure you've had a visit and a prayer with a chaplain. So that's exciting. You'll be hearing more about that from me each time we meet. And so we just think that's what we're called to do. And so we're excited to be able to do that. We do have an action item. And so I wanted to just bring your attention. You all know that you started Baptist Health System 100 years ago. And so in our organization documents, you all get to approve our board members. And so we actually have 2 board members that will be rolling off in December. So we have 4-year terms, and you can serve no more than 3 consecutive 4-year terms. So Dr. Andy Westmoreland, recently retired Samford president, will be rolling off of our board in December after serving 12 years. He's a member of Shades Mountain Baptist Church. And then Chuck Redden, some of you may know him. He will be rolling off after serving 4 years. He's the president of Auto Tech, and he's a Mountain Brook Baptist member. So we also have to have a majority of our members have to be members of Birmingham Metro Baptist Association churches. So because 2 Baptists are rolling off, we need to replace them with 2 Baptists. So I'm presenting 2 new members today. They were approved by the Baptist Health System Board at our last meeting in October. The first one is Beck Taylor, who is the new president of Samford. So he has moved here from Whitworth University in Spokane, Washington, where he was the president since 2010. Prior to that, he was the dean of the business school at Samford, and he is a member of Dawson Baptist Church. And Dr. Westmoreland, as you can imagine, was very helpful in helping us recruit Beck Taylor to our board. And then secondly, we have Ricky Thomas. He is a retired CPA. That is something, we don't have that skill set on our board right now. We don't have a CPA. We think that would be a good addition. He started his career at Coopers and Librand, and then he served as the CFO of several large companies through the years. One of those was Cobb Theaters. So he's recently retired. He's a longtime member of Shades Mountain Baptist Church. So I have both of those, and I would ask for your approval today. Can I do that, or do you need to do it? Okay, thank you. Any questions?
All right, thank you, Amy, for that good report. As you've heard, this body does need to approve these 2 men to move on to the Baptist Health Board. Do we have a motion and a second that we approve these new board members? Do we have a motion? Okay, motion and second. All right, thanks so much. Is there any discussion? All in favor, lift up your hands. Any opposed? All right, I think that's good. Thanks so much. And I believe that is adopted. At this time, Todd McMitchin from the Children's Home is next. So he's going to come after a video. And so we're going to cue that video and be blessed to hear what God's doing through the Children's Home.
Every year, 6,000 children find themselves in Alabama's foster care system. Due to no fault of their own, children come into foster care for many reasons. In this season, their parents have become unable to provide them basic care, like health, safety, and comfort. These children and their families can need either short or long-term support to turn their situation around permanently. Alabama Baptist Children's Homes and Family Ministries stands in the gap in every way possible through our licensed and trained social workers, counselors, foster and house parents, and campus directors. When these children need an advocate, we are there. When they or their parents need a counselor, we are there. When supervised visitation and training is needed, we are there. When children need a temporary or permanent home, we are there. Our 7 campuses provide safe and loving homes for hundreds of children every year. We raise them as our own with all the benefits of family life, preparing them for independence, sometimes even including college tuition paid in full. We are the Alabama Baptist Children's Homes. We protect, nurture, and restore children and families through Christ-centered services.
Rewind a little bit for you. 2020, we quarantined like everybody else did. So you can only imagine a foster family now quarantining, these foster parents becoming virtual homeschool teachers, house managers becoming virtual homeschool teachers for a house full of teenagers unexpectedly. Churches trying to survive and figure it out. So our lifeline wasn't there. Our staff also quarantined as well. So 2020 was an interesting year, and we came into 2021 not knowing what to expect. And so we are on pace in 2021 to rescue more kids than ever before in the 130-year history of the Alabama Baptist Children's Homes. And so we didn't know that was coming. We're grateful for all the partners that helped us accomplish that. Very sad that we needed to be there, but we're grateful for that. We've also facilitated and enjoyed more volunteers than ever before in our history. We'll have over 1,000 volunteers come to one of our campuses this year. So we're grateful for all the churches that have jumped in there. Some of you may not know me. I'm Todd McMitchin, just so you know, I'm the new Chief Development Officer at the Children's Home. I made a transition during COVID from Lifeway, and we'll celebrate my first year there in November. So you have a little perspective. There are 6,000 foster kids every year that venture through the system in our state. It blows me away that that happens in one of the smaller states with the population base that we have, but it happens. ABCH is the largest faith-based provider of foster care services in the state. As a matter of fact, the only organization that places more kids than we do is the state itself. We're a debt-free organization. We have 100 full-time employees, 7 campuses across the state. I want you to be extremely proud of what you've accomplished in your partnership with ABCH. So you know our message moving forward as we go into 2022 is a big vision. Even though we are the largest faith-based provider and the second largest provider in the state, that really was never our goal. Our goal was to rescue as many kids as possible, and that job obviously is not done. So there are 6,000 kids every year that venture through the foster care system of our state. We care for 600 of them this year, 10%. There's a long way to go. But there are a little over 3,000 Southern Baptist churches in our state. So when you think about societal problems and ills, we can't solve them all. But that one, the math looks pretty good. 6,000 kids, 3,000 SBC churches. So you can imagine the testimony in the years ahead if we bind together to solve this problem about what the kingdom did in our state. And you're going to hear that message repeated again and again by us at the state convention coming up in a few weeks, and then again all next year, because we're excited about the potential and the opportunity. So grateful for your support. Pathways, our professional counseling organization, office is here. We're very grateful for that. And so if there are any thoughts or questions about ABCH, I'll be more than glad to be around and help you with that. Thank you.
It's good to be with you at the Birmingham Association annual meeting. Just grateful again for the opportunity to partner with this great association at a number of different levels at Samford. I'm here on behalf of your Baptist Institutions of Higher Learning, and 2021 academic year was a year of transition. Some good transitions, some not so good transitions, as many of you already know. As far as a negative part of it, of course, was the closure of Judson College. We all grieve that, particularly at Samford University. We have long seen Judson as our older sister, as you well know, founded in 1838 in the same city as Howard College. And so it's been very difficult for us to see that happen. I will say within their final year, Dr. Westmoreland did allocate resources from Samford to help them find a way to recover that college. And unfortunately, there was just no suitable path forward to be able to make that happen. So now we're just trying to help them walk through the final days. And even though they're no longer offering classes, you well know that they're still operating in some sense, mainly due to some SAC COC regulations is involved in that as well. So continue to pray for them and all the transition that's still taking place there. I want to just say a word on behalf of the University of Mobile, who on December the 12th, 2021 will celebrate a 60-year anniversary of chartering. And so the university is asking Baptist churches across the state to declare University of Mobile Day. And I hope that you will look into that. There is a website dedicated to that on behalf of the University of Mobile. Simply, you find it at umobile.edu/celebrate60. more information on that. And Lonnie Burnett did not pay me to tell you that, but I'm telling you that anyway. We really appreciate our ministry and educational partners across the state with Judson and University of Mobile. Let me talk to you just briefly, if I could, about Samford University, a subject I'm have a good amount of acumen in and knowledge, but it was a year of transition, as you all know, in 2020, 2021 at Samford, as we did welcome in a new president. Ms. Amy has given us a pretty good declaration of that as well, but Dr. Beck Taylor has become our 19th president. Matter of fact, he sat literally right here just a couple of weeks ago and introduced himself to our Birmingham Metro Baptist Association pastors and staff members. And it's been a joy to get to know Dr. Taylor. He and I have been in the car together a lot this semester and will continue to be over the next few weeks, as well as I take him across the state to meet Baptist leaders. And so, he is becoming well acquainted with our Baptist family, and grateful for that. He comes to us, as you know, from Whitworth University in Spokane, Washington, where he served as president for 10 years. And so he is back to Samford, which he was at before as dean of our school of business. And so while Beck Taylor is new to Alabama Baptist, he's not new to us at Samford. He is a known commodity and did an excellent job of leading Broad School of Business under his tenure as dean. So grateful to have him. It was a challenging year, to say the least, in higher education, but we managed to somehow break another enrollment record. Despite the challenges, 5,729 students enrolled at Samford last academic year, which is quite amazing. We were able to mitigate any type of major spread for COVID as well, which is saying something for a bunch of college students closed within a campus. So we were very proud of the way our students responded to all of that. I will go ahead and tell you that this fall we did announce a 13th consecutive enrollment record, so we're grateful for that as well. I want to say just a word about our campus renovations. If you haven't been to Samford lately, I encourage you to come back and see what has happened and what is happening at our university. We have continued our master campus plan renovation that was voted on in 2015. It's a three-phase process. We are finishing up part of the second phase right now. We have done renovations on the Ingalls, and we've done renovations on the Chapman and Reed, and we worked on Harrison Theater. We just recently opened that. Samford Hall opened back up again a couple of weeks ago, and it looks absolutely amazing. And the famous Samford Hall smell is eradicated, so that's good. It actually smells nice in there now. So our University Center opened up a couple of years ago, and if you were a student at Samford for any length of time, if you come back now and you walk through the UC, well, frankly, you're just mad because it didn't look that nice when you were a student there. At least that's how I felt. I feel like I missed out, on Chick-fil-A being right there on my campus between classes, but we have it there now. So it really does look amazing. We just recently also updated Cyber Stadium, some updates to the Shinsky press box, adding some stadium seats as well to Cyber. And finally, Buchanan is under a year-long renovation, our School of the Arts, and so it's going to be a great space for our students. That's for sure. Let me just say a word too about our Ministry Training Institute. Dr. Crane mentioned that we are part of their ministry, and that's an understatement. We have 39 sites now, extension sites, that we're offering educational experiences for folks across 3 states now. And 4 of those sites are in this association, and that's just so it's amazing to me to think about the impact that we're having and that this association is having on our ministry as well. I hope Dr. Crane is mutually beneficial for us, but we are in Grace Covenant Worship Center there in the Winona area. We're also at Pleasant Ridge Baptist in Hueytown. And we are also at First Baptist Church of Birmingham offering classes on Tuesday nights. And a class meets actually right here through Dr. Bob Weber and what he's doing, and we're just so grateful for that. So we had well over 100 enrollments in our program just through churches of the Birmingham Metro Baptist Association last year. So those relationships are very meaningful for us, and just thankful. Think about this: last academic year, the Ministry Training Institute processed over 1,600 enrollments. My office processed over 1,600 enrollments last year. I mean, there's some colleges that don't do that, and it's me and my secretary that are doing all that. So we're busy, but it's good, and we know God's entrusted those students to us, and so incredibly grateful for the expansion of that work and training people for ministry. And I could go on and on and on about that, but I won't. We're also revamping Samford Sunday. I want to just put a word in to you. I sent Dr. Crane an email last week about this, but Dr. Will Kynes, one of our new religious study professors, has just recently taken that over. And I'm working with him, helping to just reinvigorate this important ministry that historically has been very formative for preaching students or religion students. We're also including our Christian ministry students in that now. So if you're looking to have a Samford student come and preach, I hope that you will, because that's an important part of their training to be ministers. You need to give us a call, and we actually have a website dedicated to that, and you can find that just simply by putting in your web browser, Samford Sunday, and you'll find all the information about that. Hope you'll invite one of our students to come and be a part of your ministry. Finally, on November the 4th, as you well know, President Taylor will be inaugurated as our 19th president. That week, we have a lot of events surrounding that inauguration. Probably my favorite event, though, is going to happen on Monday night, November 1st, and that is we are giving out our Silver Medallion Award, which has not been given out in quite some time. Years ago, our board of trustees established that award to just really give some applause to those who are serving people well in the name of Jesus across the state of Alabama. This year, we are awarding the Silver Medallion Award to the Alabama Baptist Disaster Relief. And Mark Wakefield and their coordinators will be with us on that night. He is one of 3 organizations that we will be honoring. But and that was Dr. Taylor's heart to just give some appreciation for these yellow shirts that are out here doing God's work in some of the worst conditions. And so that'll be on Monday night, November the 1st. And you're invited to that, by the way. It's at Brock Recital Hall at 5 p.m. To see that award given. And it's going to be a great night to celebrate. So on behalf of Dr. Beck Taylor, Samford University, University of Mobile, Monty Barnett, and Judson College, thank you again for your support of Alabama Christian higher education. We're very grateful. I'll be sticking around. If you have questions, come and see me.
I am June Whitlow. I'm the director of Women's Missionary Union in our association. I have been in this position for 1 year, but it has been a tremendous busy year. I don't know whether we were trying to make up for a lost year during COVID or what, but we were very busy in and out of this building and all over our association. We have continued to work on updating our database. This has been a big job for us because when we came into this position, we knew very little about our members, but we're learning more and more. We're learning where our Women's Missionary Union organizations are in our churches. Moving to this new building was exciting for WMU members. And then the partnerships that we have here give us such an opportunity to minister and to witness. And those 2 things particularly have piqued the interest of women in our association. One of the highlights of this year was our brunch, which we call it our annual meeting. We had it on September the 18th at the Shades Crest Baptist Church. The number that we anticipated having because of COVID and all of the restrictions, the number was limited to 96, and we reached our goal. We had a wonderful time, and our theme was Together Again. Really had two emphases. We were so happy to be together again as women in WMUs in this association. We had not met in person for 2.5 years, and we were together again, and this pleased us very much because, you know, women love to hug one another. So we had quite a good time. But the second emphasis for Together Again was the fact that the Bessemer Baptist Association and the Birmingham Baptist Association were together again. And we had a number of outstanding speakers. In fact, we just took them through very quickly. Everybody stayed on time. And sometimes that's difficult for speakers. And Dr. Crane was there, and also Dr. Cosper was there. And by the way, they did both stay on time. And they helped us to celebrate this particular season in the history of the Birmingham Metro Baptist Association. Another thing that has gained a lot of attention on the part of the women, and you've already seen it here today, and that is the revitalization efforts that are going on. You know, we love Dr. Josh Cook because of all the work that he's doing in our association. And when he first came, we gave him some money from the Helen White Evie Eubank offering. And we've been watching to see how that money has been spent during this year. And we have appreciated what is going on in this association. In fact, there are 2 members of our leadership team who are involved in churches that are being revitalized. And so that's really something that's very dear to the hearts of our women. During the year, we had 4 leadership team meetings, and we made plans for the quarter. And then we made some long-range plans. And would you believe that Dr. Crane was with us the entire day? This was an annual planning. And he was here with us all day and was very interested and listened to what was going on. In fact, he ran the PA system for us and the Zoom. Now, this is not really one of the exciting things that a DOM or an executive director does in associations. But Dr. Crane stayed with us the entire day and participated. And we thought about what we could do as partners in this association. And we came up with some goals, that some things that we wanted to do in order to help the association move forward in the work that we're doing together. And we want to increase the Helen White Evie Eubank offering. We want to do better in the area of communicating what's going on in this association. And you've seen this morning all the wonderful things that are going on in this association. I have been involved in the association for many years, but we're doing so much more than we have done in the past. And personally, I'm so grateful that we are. Another favorite project of the women is working with Baptist Campus Ministries at UAB. And last month, we provided food for an international dinner. It was particularly exciting to them and to us because this is the first time, because of COVID, that they have been able to come together. And would you believe that we planned for a certain number and we had more than we planned? Now, I'm not sure how Bill Morrison and all his associates handled it, but I think everybody had something to eat that night, plus fellowship. Beginning tomorrow in this very room, we're going to be packing, well, the backpacks are already packed. We're going to be bringing them to this room to keep them here until the Alabama Women's Missionary Union comes to get them on Friday and take them to the Mississippi River area for Christmas backpacks for very underprivileged children. Our North American Board mission distribute these, and then we look forward to the stories which they tell about the poverty in the area along the Mississippi River, just in our neighboring state. And we're very pleased to be part of that ministry. The churches in our association, backpacks and Christmas stockings and all of these other things in the area in which they live. So some of these are packed for areas right here in the city of Birmingham. We know that we do have poor children right here around us. And yes, we have been busy. Our women have been religious in doing missions in this association. One last thing, you remember that I reported to you in this very podium that we were trying to reach a $15,000 goal for disaster relief. We wanted to help buy a truck in order to transport our equipment to various areas in this state. Might even be a red truck that we buy, but we needed a truck. And I told you we were going to reach that goal. So I think in your packet of material, you have a graph, or rather some kind of artwork that shows you how much money and how many churches have been involved. And we lack only $1,091.38 reaching that goal. We have until the end of the year. Now, when I come back next time, I'm going to tell you that we reached our goal. So you help us and look at the number of churches. So few churches, only 26 in our association have contributed to this offering, which goes to ministries in this association. We are going to reach our $15,000 goal. I'm confident that we will. WMU continues to be committed to teaching missions, doing missions, and praying for missions. In this particular, thank you so much for your partnership with
Have any report from disaster relief? No, they've been very active. Yeah. All right. They're probably out working hard, serving others. All right. In item 11, the Partner Center update, you see pages 12 through 24 are reports from various partners and ministries from the association that's the association is partnered with. Invite you to look at that. Chris, do you have anything you want to add or say to those? And then you also have written reports there from the Hispanic Coalition and the State Convention annual reports as well. That's why this thing is so thick, but good reading. Did Jennifer slip out? There she is. I do want to Jennifer Rash is not often or always here, but she is leads the Alabama Baptist newspaper and does a wonderful job. Jennifer, thank you for being here today. I just wanted to say a word of thanks. You want to come up and give a quick word? And so she didn't ask me to do that, but we wanted to. We appreciate it so much. All right. And Josh, I'm going to go ahead and let's do the old business and new business finish up, and then you come up and do the announcements and close us out, okay? Is there any old business that needs to come? Mysterious old business. Is there any new business? So with that, we will finish up this business portion. Josh is going to come make the announcements and then close in prayer. Thank you for being here. Lord willing, we will see you in January.
Just want to bring your attention to the announcements there in your packet, just to let you know about a few things that we've got coming up. As you look, we have our ministers conference every Monday. It's a blessing to be here for ministers conference. As I've been in the association for a year, and I've been in some of your churches, and I've stalked the rest of you on Facebook and YouTube to hear your sermons and the things that God is doing at your church. We are blessed with amazingly faithful, quality preachers in our association. And so the ministers conference is an opportunity for us to be fed and encouraged. So I hope that you will be here for some of those ministers conference. We've got, just kind of looking down that list, Danny Wood's going to be here, Bart Box, the pastor of Christ Fellowship, my pastor at Pleasant Ridge, Kyle Sullivan, and Reginald Calvert will be here. So a lot of good opportunities for us to fellowship and just spend some time and encouragement with one another. You see, we've got the NOBTS Seminary in a Day at Valleydale. That's a great event for someone who maybe in your church is considering seminary. So if you want to be able to send them, let them get an overview of kind of what they could look for. We're excited to be able to partner with Valleydale in that. The last thing here on the list is Season of Our Savior. You see that December 7th through 9th. You should get something in the mail about Season of Our Savior. As someone who came from Bessemer, I didn't know anything about Season of Our Savior until I got to see it last year. And it is a really, really neat ministry as those stockings go out to children. Basically, I think that it's like Operation Christmas Child, but it's impacting kids here. So it's a really good opportunity for us to have a Christmas ministry that's impacting children in Birmingham and across the world. So if you want to have a balanced Christmas ministry, that's a great thing. So check out that mailing that you should get, and you can talk to Marisa if you have questions about that. But I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful to serve you in church revitalization. I'm going to pray for us and we will be dismissed. Father, God, you are great. Lord, I just thank you for the privilege of knowing that we serve a God who is powerful, who is good, who is holy, who is just. And as we gather here on this Monday morning, God, we can praise you. We can lift you up. We can give you glory and honor. And so Lord, we just praise you as we begin this prayer. Lord, we come thanking you for just the opportunity to be able to leave a time of business as Baptists where we still like each other and where we can still smile and can see that business can be done in a way that is glorifying to you. So Lord, I praise you for that. Lord, I praise you for the things that you're doing in your churches across this association. I thank you for the ministries, the churches that are represented here. Lord, thank you for just your blessings to us and for the privilege of being the light and salt that you called us to be here in this community. Father, I pray that as we leave today, Lord, that you would help us to leave here as missionaries. Lord, that you give us opportunities to point people to you, that you would draw people to your church, Lord, that your church will be faithful to minister to folks as you bring them in. Lord, that we would be good shepherds and good caretakers of the people that you trust to us. Lord, I thank you for the Birmingham Metro Baptist Association. Pray that you bless our churches, bless our leaders. Lord, I pray that you would just work in a mighty way here so that even the lost people in Birmingham would know that our God is a powerful God, that our God is great. Lord, I pray that you bless us as we leave. Lord, we love you. God, we thank you so much for all you've done for us and all that you will do. It's in Jesus' name we pray.